Good day everyone. In this video we'll be looking at reflection of light waves. And we'll be considering the nature and the sources of light. We look at the meaning of light, types of object, transmission of light, and rectilinear propagation of light. First of all, by reflection of light waves, we have a concept there, light and waves. What do we mean by waves? Wave is a disturbance that travels through a medium, transferring energy from one point to another without causing any permanent displacement to that medium. And if that is the case, we have types of waves, and we are saying that light also behaves as a wave from the topic. So in this video we are going to be discussing light as a wave. Light behaves as a wave because it's a form of energy. Light is a form of energy, and light enables us to see. Light also travels through a medium. Light also can travel without requiring a material medium also for its propagation. And in that case, we can look at light as an electromagnetic wave. By electromagnetic wave, we're talking about waves that do not require a material medium for their propagation. And based on these characteristics of light traveling through a medium and even in a vacuum, we will be looking at the dual nature of light in our subsequent videos. So for today, what is light? Light, unlike sound, makes it possible for us to see the things in our environment. So in itself, it is a form of energy, and it is a wave. Now the amount of light passing through a material or an object depends on the different materials. So we notice that when light passes through an object, that light behaves differently depending on the object through which the light is incident on, and this will lead us to discuss some materials that behave in this manner. We notice that we have a material that when light is being incident on it, that a larger percentage of the light is allowed to pass through that material, while a little fraction of the light or a little percentage of light is reflected backward. So such materials that allow large percentage of light to pass through it is said to be a transparent material. And we notice that these materials, the human can be able to see through it. We have another material that behaves differently, light behaves differently on incident on it, and this material is known as the translucent material. The translucent material or translucent object, this object, they allow a little amount of light that is incident on it to pass through it. One cannot see through them. Examples of such materials are the tissue papers, your frosted glasses, and other materials we can think of. The human may not be able to see through them, but light passes through them. We also have another material which we call the opaque object. These materials, they don't allow light to pass through them. They strongly resist the passage of light through them, thereby casting a shadow of the object on which the light is incident on behind the object. So we see a dark spot behind the object when light is being incident on such object. Man cannot see through them, and light cannot be able to pass through them. So such materials are known as opaque object. So to move on, we are going to discuss the type of object that we have, and Ms. Bamson Venice Tamino Mebaka is going to take us through that.
Okay, we have different types of objects. First, we start with the luminous objects. Luminous objects are those that produce their own light, which means they do not depend on any other source for their own light. Examples are the sun, the stars, fireflies, glowworms, lamps, etc. These objects I just named are objects that come with their own light. They don't need any other source to produce light for them. Secondly, we have the non-luminous objects. These are objects that do not produce their own light. They are only seen when light from other objects reflect on them. Example is the moon. The moon is a non-luminous object because it reflects the light of the sun. The moon does not possess its own light, but reflects the light which is gotten from the sun. We have different forms of transmission of light. Light is transmitted in vacuum, unlike sound, which means it needs no material medium for its propagation, which means in an area which is completely empty with no air, or that is a closed system, light travels way faster than it will in an open system, unlike sound, which travels better in an open system. The direction or path along which light travels is called a light ray. A light ray is the direction or path along which light travels. There are different types of light rays which are represented in diagrams, which I'll show in the later part of this presentation. A collection of rays, when a lot of rays of light come together, it is no longer a ray, but it is now a beam of light. Okay, here we have different types of beams instead of rays. First, we have the parallel beams. This is the type of beam of light that, just like parallel lines, they don't meet. They just keep going. As long as light travels in a straight line, they keep going without meeting. Then secondly, we have the divergent beams. This is a beam of light that comes from a particular source and travels in scattered directions along to different areas of a place. Thirdly, we have the convergent rays. These are rays or beams of light that come together from different areas and meet at a particular point. That's why they are called convergent rays. We have the rectilinear propagation of light. It is an established fact that light travels in a straight line, which means that the movement or direction of light cannot be moved or bent. It keeps moving straightly. Thereby, this explains the concept of shadows, because since light travels in a straight line, when an object is an opaque object, to be precise, is put in the direction or in front of the light, blocking the light can't bend and go through another place. It keeps moving, which causes it to, since it can't pass through that opaque object, it causes it to cast a shadow of that object. Rectilinear propagation of light is referred to as a phenomenon of light traveling in a straight line. That's simply the meaning of rectilinear propagation of light, the movement of light in a straight line. The formation of shadows and eclipses are caused by the rectilinear propagation of light. Eclipses are also caused by the propagation of light in a straight line, because when the earth comes in between the sun and the moon, or vice versa, a shadow is cast on the earth, thereby causing either a lunar eclipse or annular eclipse. We are going to be continuing this lesson and we'll learn more about the propagation of light. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for viewing. In our next video, we'll be talking about the formation of shadow as has been introduced by Ms. Bamis, and we will be discussing that the eclipse, a lunar and lunar eclipse. Thank you very much. Do well to subscribe to this channel and expect more fun videos. Thank you.
This man calls me mommy, so like.